In this video, I'm going to be mainly showing you how to simply make the essential, the essentials of writing a memorial. How do you write a memorial? How do you format a memorial, etc. So this video is going to be split specifically into three parts. The first part is going to be about making the cover page. The second part is going to be about basic formatting and about setting up your Word files. Finally, we're going to do a case study on a simple little submission that we have going on here so that, we can give some examples as to how to write a memorial properly. Anyways, let's start. So the first part of every single memorial in every single competition that you'll be in is the cover page. Whilst the cover page may look daunting, I assure you it is very, very simple. The left side of my screen here contains an example of a cover page. It's not the best example, but it is taken from one of my older competitions here. Now we start off with the first thing, which is the team name. So team name, obviously, is just right aligned. You can go to the paragraph tool, click right aligned here, or you can click Control R. I don't necessarily use the shortcut in this case, although I use some shortcuts in other cases, but in this case, I would like to see where my texts are aligned, and I feel like clicking the paragraph bar and then clicking the align right is the best thing. So you can write your team name, of course, bold it. Bold is very, very simple. It is Control B. Control should be at the bottom left of your keyboard, and B is, well, where? Above spacebar, obviously. So that would be your team name. Let's say that your team name is Team 1, something like that. Now, how do we get these lines on the left? This is a purely style choice. You don't necessarily need to make these lines, but I'm going to do them anyways. So how do we make these lines? You need to go and click Insert, click Shapes, and there is going to be a line right there. Now, drawing a line can be quite daunting because, how do you draw it straight? I'm going to Control Z that, undo that real quick. But an easy way to do it is to simply hold Shift, right? When you hold Shift, it essentially makes it so that your lines are straight. You see that my mouse is not necessarily on the line, but it's straight anyways. And that's it. That's how you draw a line. So obviously, we would like it to be a little bit thicker, and we would like it to be black, right? So we can click the theme styles up here, and I feel like I am very, very happy with a moderate line, dark 1. So it's a little bit thicker now. Of course, right now the line is in front of the text. We would like it to be exactly here, but we do not want it to be aligned right because we want our lines to be symmetrical. In this case, go to paragraphs, click inline with text. I forgot to tell you that. And of course, it would be directly in line with all of the texts moving forward here. And it would be in the middle, of course. After that, you would like to type in your competition name. So the competition name will be center aligned. So as always, go back to paragraph, go to the center align tool, obviously, and type in the competition. In this case, it's going to be the TIMS Internal Moot Court Competition 2025, right? And afterwards, we want another line to close it. So in this case, I do not want to draw a new line because there is no guarantee as to how I'm going to draw the line exactly the same as this one. So I'm going to just go here, right click, copy, or a very popular way to do it is just click Control C, right? And paste it. Right click, paste. Keep source formatting. Don't click the picture one. Or you can do the quicker way, which is Control V, Control plus V. Now in this case, you see that there's massive spacing between the two of this, and this is not what we want. The way we can do this is simply select the 3 lines that we would like to edit, go on to paragraphs, and click the bottom right, paragraph settings. There you go. The next part of a cover page is going to be where you're submitting your memorial to. In this case, I do not really know what the case will be this year, but it's probably going to be something about public international law, which is going to be submitted in the ICJ court in The Hague. So we could just type that down. here. And of course you see that it is all single space. It looks quite ugly. So of course we do what we did with the case above. Just edit it, obviously. And we'll put in 1.5 spacing. And that looks quite good. The third one is the logo. Now the logo, you can just Google it, and now you have a logo. So obviously do what I told you, just told you to do, of course, in line with text, so that everything is all consistent and nice. This is not a hard and fast rule. Of course, you can just click, in front of text or with other text wrapping and just like move it around. Let's see if you like fancy it more or something like that. I just prefer to do this for the sake of consistency. Center aligned, of course, we do not want our logos to go left nor right. And make it the size that we would like it to be. I forgot to press enter on this, and it would be directly under it, right here. So now we have a nice little logo right there. So the next part of the memorial is going to be the case name. Of course, this one is quite obvious. Just type something. Just type what the facts give you. Usually it will be something on, a landmark or something that happened or something like that. So in this case, this is a completely fictional case right here that I just thought up like a few minutes ago. In this case, you just write down, and then we need to write down our country. So in this case, we are going to be writing a memorial for the applicant. This case is between, this fictional case that we're going to be making our memorial on is between the Republic of Artesia and the People's Democratic Republic of Rhaetia. I completely made the names up, and I'll let you guess what the People's Democratic Republic of Rhaetia's form of government is, of course. Anyways, so we have two countries, the Republic of Artesia, right? Right click and keep text only usually is the best way. It keeps the format, it makes everything nice. And now I'm going to show you one of the tools that will make your life a lot easier when you're copy and pasting something. When you select this, we would like everything here to be all caps. This is not all caps, so do you have to rewrite them? No, because we can just select them, and we go to the top left right here. There's a change case button. Click that, all uppercase, boom, easy, easy. Now what else? So we need to identify who is the Republic of Artesia. So it is obviously the applicant. Make it italicized. This is purely style. You do not need to italicize this. Of course, italicize can be done in two ways. One is by clicking the top left button here, or two is by clicking Control I. Of course, a little shortcut right there. Versus small v in the name of our of the respondent here, which is the People's Democratic Republic of Rhaetia. Of course, same thing right here. Go to font, uppercase, down here, respondent, right? Finally, we need to identify whose team we're on, whose team we're writing for. So same thing up here. I'm just going to copy and paste these lines and write it down. Memorial for the applicant. Oh yeah, I forgot to write the year as well. Anyways, paragraph. We'll do 1.15, of course, and 8 right there. So we have some space. See, there's a little bit too much spacing here. So we'll usually, I do not prefer to edit the text. I'll just make the logo smaller. It makes life a lot easier. It gives a lot more space. Anyways, let's edit everything out. 0.15, right that. And oh, right, I need to change fonts to make it all uppercase. And finally the year, which is going to be 2025. So that is a very, very basic way of making a, there you go, of making a memorial. Is it the recommended way? I would personally do it. I mean, if you get these if you get sort of these habits in quickly, it will save your life in the long run. Now we can make our memorial a little bit more fancy. Of course, we can make it so that this is the first page. By doing so, we can do so by simply adding a page break, right? We go to layout, page break, so that afterwards anything after this is going to become in the next page. So when you suddenly add something, it won't just, it won't just appear on the top page and will mess up the formatting. The way you can look at your previous formatting is by clicking home and clicking this button right here, which is show and hide. It will show you every single edit that you did. So this symbol obviously means that I press entered once, right? And this symbol means space and all that. And you can see the page breakdown here, sort of like anything that comes after that will go in the next page. It's sort of a very, very easy way to make sure that everything is supposedly in your page, obviously, right? Now that we have something like this, we can make it a little bit more beautiful, maybe like play around with the spacing a little bit, doing something like that. But my favorite way of making the table of content and the whole file more beautiful than what it's supposed to be is simply making a page border. So making a page border is essentially a box that goes around your entire file. It's purely style points. I don't necessarily it doesn't necessarily matter whether or not you put it or not, but the way that you find page border is two ways. Of course, you could just use the top tool, the search tool, and just type page borders. That one's quite simple. Or you can go to design and you could go to page border, whatever fancies you, And next we'll go to box, line, make sure the width is to your liking. I'd recommend half a point because we don't want it to be too disruptive. We want all the lines to be similar to each other. And there you go. Now we have a very, very beautiful first page. Let's disable that. Boom, right there. Everything you need. Now we're going to move on to basic formatting, how to set up styles, how to set up headings so that everything works like clockwork. Firstly, one thing that you never want to do is manually format your work. Now, in certain situations, it is allowed, but I would not recommend it for the long run. This competition, you can't get away with it because from my experiences, the Internal Moot Competition is only 10 pages, but in a real competition, specifically a more advanced competition like Jessup Moot Court, for example, your submissions are 50 pages. If you do not have a single formatting style that applies to you and your whole team, you're going to be stuck doing things over and over again. It's going to be absolutely painful. So we're going to do the first thing here, which is going to be setting up the styles right here. So you see these top buttons here. These are called headings, and headings are extremely important because they are needed for essentially formatting your entire document and making sure that each heading, each section has its own headings, and is a lot more useful when making the table of contents, right? So instead of making a manual table of content, these headings are used to make an automatic, right? Auto table of contents. So how do you set it up? Right now, these are my pre-set up headings right here. It will not look that way on your computer. So I'm going to show you how to make it to look similar to mine. Starting with heading 1. Heading 1 is the heading that shows the actual section of the page. Like, for example, the table of contents. Let's show the table of contents, summary of pleadings, and prayer for relief, right? So these are all different sections. What the heading does is that when you select all of them, click, boom, it makes everything into a heading. So when you click the navigations tab, go to headings, you can skip to it. It helps with formatting a lot faster because you can simply skip to the page that you need. And then you could do your basic formatting right here, like for example, bold, uppercase, capitalize, everything, etc. How do you set this up? You firstly need to click this and right click and go to modify. Now, if I remember correctly, the default style of Word is going to be something as Calibri Navy. We do not want Calibri Navy. Of course, you can click the heading and manually edit it afterwards, but it is just a lot better to do it in the beginning. So we right click, modify, and we'll have everything here. So we'll have the alignment. Obviously, the first heading will be center aligned. Second, we'll have the spacing. Spacing right here, just click the middle one. Of course, there is a way to do it by like clicking the format tab and everything. But the middle one just means 1.5 spacing. And 1.5 spacing is essentially a default spacing for a lot of things. If you want to go deep down and edit it, you could go to paragraphs and you could edit it yourself. I don't prefer to do it. So the middle one is 1.5 spacing, and the top button here is essentially the spacing after the paragraph. So you see the spacing of the paragraph when you click enter. But the thing that you need to remember is this: formatting, font, all scripts, Times New Roman, 12, bold, 1.5 spacing, center aligned, black, right? And then you can click either two options: only in this document or new document based on this template. I clicked new documents based on this template for the first time. You never have to do it ever again, because when you're doing this over and over again, you need to create like a new document and you need to do it all over again. It's a pain. So I will save it, right? And now when I click it, boom, it's already done. Well, this is a bad example. For the second one, of course, same thing, Times New Roman, 12, bold, 1.5 spacing, but this time we'll do left align, or you can do justify. It is up to you, right? And all scripts, of course. And finally, we'll go for the finally, the basic difference here is that this thing has, you see the number 1 in the Roman numerals in front of it. The way you do that is you just simply click format and you click numbering. When you click numbering, you can now select the numbering that you want. So in this case, I would like to select this one right here, and it will show, and you can just click OK. The same principle applies to every single other heading. The main differences here is how you format it. So for example, heading 5 is a little bit is always italicized. That's just my style, but you can use your own style. Just make sure that they do not repeat so that the judges and the readers can essentially tell which heading is which heading. So now that we have all of that, that is basic formatting. Now we're going to be looking at our case for today. So I took the time out to make a small case. This is a very, very easy case. This is basically common sense right here. It is about two nations, the Republic of Artesia and the People's Republic of Rhoetia, right? That's a tongue twister, that one. The two countries are essentially neighbors to each other, and they don't like each other very much. They've been in constant warfare. In this scenario, Rhoetia actually trained irregular forces, and the irregulars launched an invasion on Artesia's land with Rhoetia's support, with R's support, right? And in this case, this is a case of a statement of agreed facts, which is the fact that Artesia brings this matter to the ICJ and basically sues Rhoetia, right? Sues R. The attacks are not merely frontier incidents. This is a legal term. I will not really be explaining something on it. It has something to do with Article 51. And finally, we look at Artesia's prayers for relief, which is that R violated Article 2 sub 4 of the UN Charter by sending irregular forces to Artesia and triggered Artesia's right to self-defense. And I have some cases here for the tutorial on how to do proper citations. So firstly, we have to add our first heading. So usually the first heading is going to be a copy and paste of the prayers for relief, essentially speaking. So we'll just add that, control, and simply just paste that, right? And then of course we'll be using our tool, which is the case tool, make it all uppercase. And now we have the heading. Now we're going to be moving on to our subheadings. We can just write what our arguments are supposed to be. Firstly, Rhoetia violated Article 2 sub 4 of the UN Charter by sending irregular forces to Artesia and triggered Artesia's right to self-defense. In this case, this is a very open and clear-shut case. The ICJ has decided before that you attack from a military force, traditional military force, for it to be considered an armed attack, so long as, the attacks are of a certain scale. So in this case, we could just say, yeah, they violated Article 2 sub 4. Sending irregular forces is a violation of Article 2 sub 4, even though Rhoetia did not send normal military troops. Of course, we have our subheadings right here, so long as the attacks were not merely frontier incidents. Asia trained the irregulars. Lusatia ordered them and all that. We'll just have our subheadings right here. Boom. So 3 subheadings make everything all normal. So we have our headings, right? And then, of course, our second case, which is Artesia's right to self-defense. Self-defense is quite simple. You should learn this in your LB 290 class. So right, so let's make sure that all of these are uppercase. I prefer it to be justified, actually, and I prefer the first and second, sorry, the second heading downwards to be capitalize each word right here. We need to write down there that there was an armed attack. The response was necessary and proportionate. Artesia reported its self-defense to the UNSC. Right. So there are these 3 conditions right here. So now you can see that the formatting is a little bit messed up because it's 1, 2, 3, and it goes to 4 even though we want to restart to 1. Just right click on the 4 and restart of 1. And now you have a basic formatting of your memorial in this case. So, of course, we would also like a page number. So right here, header and footer, page number, bottom of the page, right side. You see that it starts at 2, and we do not actually want that. We would want the page number here to start at 1. And the way to do that is you need to go back to design, you need to go to layout, you need to go to breaks, and now you need to look at section breaks. So it's a little bit different from page breaks. Page breaks are simply a formatting tool, so it looks different. But a section break is where even the formatting will be reset on the next page. So press enter a little bit. Okay, we'll do page break. And then we will do a section break. So section break will continue on the next page. What this does is that now the thing is reset, so you can copy that, and then you can go over here and unlink it to the previous one. So now this is disconnected from these 2, and this one as well. You would like to just remove that, right? And this will remain. In this case, we can edit this field, make it the correct format, and we simply can start at 1 right here. So now we have a complete first and second page right there. In a real competition, the sections that are not dealing with your pleadings must be numbered differently. So usually the first page will not be numbered, of course, because it's the cover page, but the table of contents will be numbered in Roman numerals, right? And Roman numerals are, well, it's the same principle really. Bottom page, right side. And you see that it's not linked to the back. That's good. Of course, we do not want this to be linked to the previous one. Just click different first page for this one. It's a lot easier. And same thing here for my page number. And don't continue from previous section. You can start at 0. Why not? Oh, wait. We'll need to, of course, make another section break right here. And remove that. Go back to the... and remove this page break. Because we already have a section break right here, right? And then now we have a completely new section. We can go bottom of the page, right side, and it will be 1 right here. So now you see that this one is in Roman numeral. This one is in Arabic numeral, right? Let's make it in the middle. Same thing here. There you go. and this one we do not want it to link to previous, and this one just remove it. Okay, so this is the basic formatting of every single memorial. So the final thing here is essentially just writing the memorial down. So in this case, we're going to write something like very, very basic here, and then we're just going to do normal citations, okay? So in this case, we need to just write a normal fact. Artesia's attack on Artesia via sending the irregular troops constitute an armed attack against Artesia, despite it not being a traditional military attack. Hence, Artesia has the right to self-defense against Rhoesia. And then we can now go on to the bottom one. So in this case, I'm only going to be writing about the self-defense and the irregulars here, right? I'm just going to remove that one because it's redundant. Okay, so now we write this one, and then we just wrote a violation of Article 2 sub 4 of the UN Charter does not need to be an attack from a state's military. It can also be by sending irregular troops against another country. There you go. And the way that you cite that is, of course, we need to use a footnote system. It depends on the citation style, though. I know that in VIS we use in-text citation, but a footnote system is very easy. We could just use the shortcut of Control plus Alt plus F. Right here, you can see the little top footnote right there. So how do you cite this? The way that you cite it is you need to look at your sources, right? So in this case, I would like to cite Nicaragua versus the United States, paragraph 195, because it says that in particular, it may be considered to be agreed that an armed attack must be understood as not merely action by regular armed forces, see, but also by sending or on behalf of the state of armed band group irregulars or mercenaries. So in citing this one, we would like to know the case, Nicaragua versus the United States of America. The way that you can cite that is just simply going to the website that has the court case. So you look at the cases, list of all cases right here. Boom. Click that, and then click paramilitary. Military and paramilitary in and against Nicaragua. Okay? So we'll click that. We'll go to judgments because we would like to cite from the judgments, of course. And finally, the judgment of 27 June 1986, which is where the paragraph is going to be. In here, it will literally tell you how to cite. Right here, official citation, military and paramilitary activities in and against Nicaragua, page 14. So just copy that and paste. We'll do a little bit of formatting right here. And of course, we go on to paragraph 195 right here. Boom. And that is how you cite a basic case. For other citation styles, I prefer to use Oscola. I could just refer to the Oscola citation guide. How do you cite the law? In this case, I would like to cite the UN Charter. Let's say that we need to write a state refrained from using force against another state under the UN Charter. A state is not allowed from using force in another state against another state's territorial integrity under the UN Charter. So obviously you could just cite UN Charter Article 2 sub 4, but in this case I would say you need to look at the way that you cite this. It's a little bit tricky. I usually just type UN Charter citation. How do you cite it? In Oscola, right? And then you just click the website. Oh, there you go. Reference world. Chart of the US citation. And there you go. So you can just copy and paste that. And then I usually put the way that we will call it, which is the UN Charter, in this little parentheses here, so that we could just use that over and over again. We don't need to cite this whole thing. There you go. So that's how you cite the law. And UN General Assembly resolutions, you can just copy and paste that. So essentially, it's how you cite for writing a memorial. On the final thing is how to write a memorial. The structure of writing a memorial is very, very simple. I think you're all aware of the term IRAC, right? Issues, rules, application, and conclusion. The basic gist of writing a memorial is going to be that, but instead we replace I with conclusion as well, so CRAC. So you see how we're writing here that this is the conclusion. They violated Article 2 sub 4 and thus triggered self-defense. And then on the headings is basically going to act as your C, right? So we write the headings right here, and then we go on to the rules. Or if you're a little bit more stylish, you can write the facts down as well, and then the rules. And then you move on to the application and finally the conclusion. Repeat this over and over again until everything is complete. And essentially, that is how you write the memorial. I mean, you could just look at the best memorials from previous competitions and essentially copy and pasted it here. Now, everything that I've been telling you on all the headings, all the formattings, has all been leading up to this. So why do we do these headings? When we go back to the table of contents, we do not want to write like this. The way that we do it is, now that all of our headings are in line, we go to references, table of contents, custom table of contents, because the problem with a normal table of contents is the headings only go until level 3, whereas for us we have 5 levels of headings, right? So we go to references, table of contents, custom table of contents, and down here we should go show level. We go up to 5, okay, and click. Now we have our beautiful table of contents. That is basically how you format a memorial and the very, very basics of writing a memorial. Please consult with your coaches and the members of the TIMS committee on the upcoming Thammasat Internal Moot Court competition. I hope you guys enjoyed this. I hope you guys learned something from this. I hope you enjoyed the competition as well. See you.